Welcome to Unbound, the podcast with Beth Curry, author, storyteller, and survivor. This is where books meet real life, where Beth reads chapters from her work and breaks free from the traditional audiobook format, diving deeper into the personal experiences, lessons, and liberation behind every page. Nothing is off limits. Let's get unbound.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unbound Season 2, The Weight of Truth. I'm Beth Curry, and today I'm going to talk about something that I had originally avoided for years, and that's exercise, or as I preferred to call it when I was justifying not doing it, toxic movement culture. Wow. Okay, so this is Chapter 9, Learning to Hold My Own Weight. When you're cruising just shy of the 400-pound club, the idea of exercise feels about as realistic as the idea of flying to Mars. Your body hurts just existing. Walking upstairs leaves you dry heaving. Getting up from chairs requires strategy and extreme levels of momentum. The thought of going to a gym where thin, fit people bounce around effortlessly feels like signing up for public humiliation. So for years, I didn't exercise. And I had a whole arsenal of body positive justifications for why that was perfectly fine. Exercise culture is toxic. Movement should be joyful, not forced. I don't need to punish my body to earn love. Health at every size means I'm already healthy. All of these thoughts felt so enlightened compared to the diet culture messaging that exercise was about punishment and earning your food, and honestly, some of them had truth to them. Exercise shouldn't be punishment. Movement can be joyful. But here's what I was really doing. I was using body positive philosophy to justify being afraid. I was afraid of being the fattest person in the gym. I was afraid of not being able to keep up. I was afraid of people staring. I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of trying something and discovering that my body really was as broken as it felt. So I convinced myself that not exercising was a political statement rather than admitting it was cowardice. The déjà vu during my non-exercise years looked like this. The fact: I wasn't exercising. My thought: exercise culture is toxic and I don't need to participate in it. How that thought made me feel: righteous, like I was brave and taking a brave stand against oppression. My actions: I continued avoiding all physical activity, staying sedentary, getting weaker and more out of shape. The result: I felt like a bucket of shit physically, had no energy, and my body continued deteriorating while I pretended it was a feminist act. When I finally decided I wanted to live instead of die, I knew I had to face my fear of movement, but I was smart about it this time. Instead of diving into some extreme fitness program that would set me up for failure, I started small. Really small. I started with walking in my house. Back then, I had a straight line from the front of my house to the back, and I walked back and forth hundreds of times. That way, if I got hurt or if something happened, I was safe at home. If I got exhausted, I didn't have to walk all the way back. It worked for me, and I still do it sometimes if I need to multitask. Then I started walking around my block, just once. And it was hard. I was out of breath. I was sweating. My knees hurt, but I did it. Then I did it again the next day, and the next. And slowly walking around the block became walking around 2 blocks, then 3. Then I was doing miles of laps at the local walking trails. Then walking became the foundation that everything else was built on. But the real breakthrough came when I tried TRX for the first time. For those who don't know, TRX is suspension training. You use your own body weight and gravity to do exercises with straps. My friend set up the straps and he showed me a basic move. I grabbed the handles, leaned back, and tried to pull myself up. And I did it. I held my own body weight. Me, the woman who'd been telling herself for years that her body was broken and useless. The woman who had convinced herself that 400 pounds was just how she was built. The woman who had spent decades believing that some people were just meant to be sedentary. I held my own fucking body weight. That moment, that holy shit, I can do this moment, changed everything. Not just about exercise, but about what I believed was possible for my body and my life. Nobody tells you this, but I'm here to tell you. Your body wants to be strong. It wants to move. It wants to be capable. Even at your heaviest, even after years of neglect, even when it seems broken beyond repair, it's just waiting for you to give it a chance. But I had spent so many years listening to voices that told me wanting to be physically capable was somehow wrong. I had internalized the message that caring about fitness was shallow, that wanting to be strong was buying into oppressive beauty standards, that any dissatisfaction with my physical abilities was internalized fat phobia. Bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit, a dumpster fire of damn lies. Wanting to be able to climb stairs without getting winded isn't depression, it's basic human dignity. Wanting to be able to play with your kids without getting exhausted isn't vanity, it's love. Wanting to feel powerful and capable in your body isn't shallow, it's fundamental to being human. That TRX moment taught me something crucial. I had been confusing acceptance with resignation. I had been mistaking giving up with self-love, and I had been treating my body like it was already dead instead of like it was capable of resurrection. My relationship with exercise completely shifted after that. It stopped being about punishment or earning food or conforming to beauty standards. It became about discovering what my body could do. It became about proving to myself one rep at a time that I was stronger than I thought. I started strength training not to get skinny, but to get strong. I started cardio not to burn calories, but to build endurance. I started stretching not to look flexible, but to feel mobile and pain-free. And something miraculous happened. The stronger I got physically, the stronger I got mentally. The more capable I felt in my body, the more capable I felt in my life. The more I proved I could do hard things physically, the more I believed I could do hard things in general. Exercise became my daily reminder that I was worth investing in. Every workout was a vote for the person I was becoming instead of the person I had been. Every time I showed up, even when I didn't feel like it, I was practicing the skill of keeping commitments to myself. Here's what I want you to understand. Exercise at 400 pounds doesn't look like exercise at 200 pounds. It doesn't have to look like what you see on social media or in fitness magazines. It doesn't have to be perfect or pretty or impressive to anyone else. It just has to be movement that your body can handle today, with the goal of being able to handle a little more tomorrow. Maybe that's walking to the mailbox. Maybe that's doing wall push-ups. Maybe that's stretching in your living room. Maybe that's dancing to one song in your bedroom where nobody can see you. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters that you start. Because here's the secret. Your body is not broken. It's not beyond repair. It's not meant to be sedentary. It's just been waiting for you to stop listening to the voices that told you that movement was punishment and start listening to the voice that says movement is freedom. The strongest thing you can do isn't a perfect squat or a fast mile or a heavy deadlift. The strongest thing you can do is show up for yourself when no one else is watching, when it's hard, when you don't feel like it, when you're scared. The strongest thing you could do is prove to yourself that you're worth the effort. And every time you do that, every time you choose movement over excuses, strength over resignation, and capability over comfort, you're learning to hold your own weight in ways that have nothing to do with exercise and everything to do with self-respect. Real talk questions. What story do you tell yourself about what your body can't do? I'm too heavy for that. I'm too out of shape. I'm not athletic. I have bad knees. Some of these might be true right now, but which ones are you using as permanent excuses instead of temporary challenges? When was the last time you did something that scared you physically? Not dangerous, scared. When did you last try something that made you think, I don't know if I can do this? If you can't remember, you're playing it too safe. What would you do if you knew your body was stronger than you think? If you discovered you were capable of more than you believed, what would you try? What activities have you written off that might actually be possible with the right approach? Strength discovery exercise. This week, try one thing that you think you might not be able to do. If you're sedentary, walk around the block once, do wall push-ups, or hold a plank for 10 seconds. If you're lightly active, try a new class, add weight to an exercise you already do, or try a movement that intimidates you. If you're moderately active, challenge yourself with a harder variation, a longer duration, or something completely outside of your comfort zone. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to discover that your body is more capable than your brain wants to admit. Movement mindset makeover. Replace these limiting thoughts. Instead of, I hate exercise, say, I'm learning what movement feels good to my body. Instead of saying, I'm too out of shape, say, I'm building strength one workout at a time. Instead of, I don't have time, say, I'm investing in my future self. Instead of, I'm not athletic, say, I'm discovering what my body can do. Instead of, this is too hard, try, I'm getting stronger every time I try. Pick one of these new thoughts and practice it before, during, and after your next movement session. Hold your own weight challenge. Find one way to support your body weight this week. Hold onto a wall and lean back. Do a wall sit for 10 seconds. Hang from a pull-up bar, even if you can't pull up. Hold a plank position. Do assisted squats holding onto something sturdy. The point isn't how long you can hold it or how perfect your form is. The point is proving to yourself that your body can support itself, that you are literally strong enough to hold your own weight. And if that's not a metaphor for life, I don't know what is. Truth bomb. Your body is not broken. It's not beyond hope. It's not meant to be weak or sedentary or incapable. It's been waiting for you to stop making excuses and start making progress. You don't have to become a fitness influencer or run marathons or lift heavy weights. You just have to move more today than you did yesterday. You just have to prove to yourself that you're worth the effort. Every time you choose movement over excuses, you're not just building physical strength, you're building the strength to hold your own weight in every area of your life. Okay, so let's chat. That TRX moment with Jerry, grabbing those straps, leaning back, and actually holding my own body weight, that was one of the most powerful moments of my entire transformation. Not because it was some impressive feat of strength at all. At nearly 400 pounds, leaning back on suspension straps and pulling myself up a few inches wasn't exactly Olympic level athleticism. But I was a bit lighter at this point, and it was the first time in decades that I had proven to myself that my body could do something I didn't think I could do. And that was kind of a big deal. I spent so many years telling myself that my body was broken. I was just built differently. Some people were just meant to be sedentary. And I had wrapped all of those limiting beliefs in body positive language so that they sounded enlightened instead of what they actually were. And that was excuses born from fear. The truth I didn't want to admit, I wasn't avoiding exercise because I thought it was toxic. I was terrified. And that made me avoid it. I was terrified of failing. I was terrified of falling. I was terrified of being the fattest person in literally any fitness space. I was terrified of trying something and discovering that my body really was as broken as it felt. It was terrifying. And the deja vu pattern that I was running, thinking that exercise culture was toxic and I didn't need to participate. Wild, wild, wild. That thought made me feel righteous and politically aware. It made me feel like I was taking this brave stand, and that feeling, led me to avoid all movement, and that kept me weak and falling apart. And I pretended it was cool. But then, I finally got honest with myself. I admitted that my body positivity around exercise was just fear dressed up in better language, and, things changed. Started walking in my house, like I said. I couldn't say I didn't have time to go somewhere. It kind of took away every excuse. I couldn't worry about people watching me. I couldn't be afraid of getting stranded somewhere if I got too tired. I was safe at home, right? And all I had to do was walk from one end of my house to the other. Eventually, I also got a treadmill. But yeah, you know what? It was hard. It was really hard, but I did it, and I did it again and again. And then walking in my house became walking around the block and on the trails, and more and more and more. The physical changes were important for sure. I was building cardiovascular endurance. I was strengthening my joints. I was creating this foundation for everything else that came later. But the mental changes were even more important, especially to me. Every single time I completed a walk, even when it was hard, even if I didn't want to, if it was raining or snowing or minus 85 degrees outside, when my body hurt, I was proving to myself that I could keep commitments to myself. I was practicing showing up even when I didn't want to, even when it was uncomfortable. That skill, that skill of doing hard things, even when you don't feel like it, it didn't just change my body, it changed my life. And, it applies in a million other aspects of life too, right? The exercises I included at the end, the strength discovery exercise, the movement mindset thing, the hold your own weight, do them. Actually do them. I say this at the end of every chapter. Don't just read through them and think, "Oh, that's a good idea," or "That sounds so stupid," or "Why did she write this?" Pick one and do it, okay? I don't want to hear about it. What I learned is that your body is so much more capable than your brain wants to admit. Your brain is wired to keep you safe, and safe means comfortable, and comfortable means not challenging yourself. Your brain will come up with 1,001 reasons why, you can't do something, why you shouldn't even bother trying, and why it's too hard or too scary or too much. Your body, though, your body wants to be strong. It doesn't matter what you weigh, if you're heavy now, if you're not, even after years of neglect, even when it seems broken, it's just waiting for you to give it a chance to prove to you what it can do. The line about me, wanting to be able to climb stairs without getting winded, being a basic human dignity, that's not oppression. I really want you to hear that. Somewhere along the way, the body positive movement started treating any desire for physical capability as if it were shallow or something. It's like, I don't know, very weird. It's, wanting to be strong has nothing to do with beauty standards, I don't know. None of it is internalized fat phobia and all that bullshit. Wanting to be able to play with your kids and climb stairs and carry groceries and move through the world. It's not vanity. Like, I just can't believe that people actually buy into that. I can't believe I bought into it. And that people spew it as though it's just the most normal and natural attitude and opinion to have. Yeah, and that the stronger I got physically, the stronger I got mentally, that was really, really important too. Your body's not broken. It's just waiting for you to stop making excuses, Before I go, if you want to discuss this episode with me, with others, there's a Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. All my content is free and always will be, but if you want to support the production costs, you can also check the show notes for that information. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you can discover something that your body could do that you didn't know. See you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Unbound with Beth Curry. Join the conversation in the Facebook group or visit author.bethcurry.com. Want to support the show? Head to ko-fi.com/unbound podcast. Until next time, stay unbound.